Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So, hi, everyone. Christine and Tim here. Really happy to be on this session with you. And today we're going to have a really crazy conversation, as we always do. So, I'm Christine and Tim. I'm the CEO of the Global Startup Ecosystem. I'm also the creator and founder behind multiple major tech summits that you've probably experienced and seen around the world, whether it be Haiti Tech Summit, Afro Future Summit, Ghana Tech Summit. We're the creators behind a portfolio of about 60 different tech summit brands around the world. And throughout my journey of entrepreneurship over the past decade, I have seen a lot. I have been through a lot. I've been through highs and lows. But my journey throughout this past decade has always been not only to serve my audience and my community to the best of my ability with services and products and experiences that really put them first, but more importantly, inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs to do the same, build businesses and brands that matter. So with that said, today we're going to have a very powerful conversation. I'm going to put my slide up in a second here. But as you can imagine, this conversation really has to do with AI, tech, and entrepreneurship, where you stand as a founder. If you've been feeling a little bit off over the past couple weeks, couple months, couple years, man, it has been a truly, truly crazy whirlwind in business. Because I think for the past decade, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs globally, helping them to build businesses, personal brands, and scalable models through our work at the Global Startup Ecosystem, through our flagship digital accelerator program. Many of you are aware we accelerate about 1,000 companies to market every single year to help them launch and build their companies with purpose through the GSC program. And we have mentored and really helped over the past couple of years, in particular, help build resilience and really awareness of what's happening in today's economy. And what I'm seeing right now, to be honest with you, is probably the biggest shift or collision of things happening that I've ever experienced in my tenure as an entrepreneur, also in my tenure as an ecosystem builder, serving other entrepreneurs to help them succeed a lot in this market. And so I think, many of you have shared through DMs, messages, and posts that, you're feeling like, a lot of things are not working. You're doing more, getting less results. You're showing up, you're not converting. You feel like what used to work before is not working the way you used to. And I've shared this honestly and openly over the past couple of sessions where I've gone live on LinkedIn and other social media platforms that you're not alone. Because, earlier this year, I shared my, quarterly State of the Startup Ecosystem live session where I broke down the new rules of entrepreneurship in the era and what's working now and what's already dead. So you could get the replay with the links below. But that conversation, I feel, from what I could tell from the feedback that I got, and we got a lot of feedback, so thank you so much for always giving me your thoughts and feedback and your opinions of these live sessions. The feedback was that, the conversation really helped a lot of people feel validated, especially entrepreneurs who are struggling through transition through this time and this climate. It gave language to what many of you are experiencing. And based on the feedback, many of you felt inspired and called upon to do more and really take on this badge of resilience to really build businesses with purpose during this global transition and to take action. And so a lot of you, in that spirit of action and inspiration and, ready to go mentality, some of you are asking, okay, now I know what I need to think about and what's going on. All right, so how do I go about this? And I think, you know, yes, inspiration is great, but there's still some challenges that many of you guys are facing. And so some of the challenges many of you have shared with me personally and directly is that some of you feel like, you know, content is just too much on the internet. You feel like you can't really get through to break through the noise. Some of you have said, like, you know, people are a little bit confused with, you know, multiple options, multiple alternatives. Some of you feel like you're burning out because, you know, AI and the technology that's, you know, really taking play right now on the internet is making you feel like you have to be switched on 24/7. Some of you definitely feel like trust is broken, that a lot of people are more skeptical, so you have a lot more hurdles to overcome to build a relationship with your clients, your stakeholders, your partners, so on and so forth. There's, you know, some of you feel like you have a feast or famine schedule where you have months where you're doing really great with the business and some months where just like, yo, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make payroll, right? So some of you have shared a lot of different, you know, angst and irks that is really making business not as seamless as it used to be. And when you take a step back, to really look at this, and you know, some of you looked at AI at first as kind of like a solution to many of your business problems. I know that I was presented to entrepreneurs during the first wave of, you know, tools going out like ChatGPT in 2022. But even prior to that, during the pandemic, there were a lot of AI tools that got people really psyched about business. But now that people are actually interacting with AI and interacting with the different tools that are on the internet, many of you feel like it's not created a whole world of issues that many of you feel like you were not prepared for. Someone was saying, like, I feel like AI is messing everything up, right? The world simply just doesn't reward, you know, the way things used to be, right? Some of you have said that, you know, I want to you know, do more, but I feel like, you know, I'm competing with more players in the market. And the thing is, it's like, for those of you who feel like AI has disrupted your business, I'm going to push against that because I feel like it really diagnosed it. It exposed some things that many of you probably didn't want to come to terms with. And I think we are all collectively seeing in real time. AI did several things. It exposed a lot of bad actors. It exposed a lot of broken systems. It exposed businesses that were not truly sustainable, because I said this before, during the pandemic in 2020, a lot of people got into entrepreneurship in a way that was not sustainable, in a way that's not, you know, structured in a way that was really the true state of business at that time. And so we're not operating in a world where everyone is kind of like in a glass house and your operations are now visible, your value is measurable, and people can really see what's going on. So you can't really hide certain things anymore. And I just want to say that there is a new model to winning in today's digital economy. And today I'm going to share it with you because this is a model and this is a training that we have done with thousands of entrepreneurs over the past couple of years behind the scenes through GSC, but also through my private sessions where entrepreneurs are like, hey, Christine, like, how are you navigating? How are you pivoting? Because even in my business portfolio of multiple events, initiatives, and programs, we have also revamped our business model to be prepared for what's happening. And it has been a very painful transition, I have to admit, but I'm trying to save you that anguish by sharing with you what we did to get to the finish line, and hopefully you can leverage this as well. Now, with that said, the new business model that works, it's actually not that complicated. You know me, I'm not someone who wants to, you know, give a lot of jargon around terminologies, like to get straight to the point. Realistically, the new model has three very, very simple parts. If you want to have a business that wins in today's economy, you need three things. One, you need a product that serves, okay? And I want to iterate that very clearly. I think before, products were created because people wanted them, or because, you know, it was an alternative, or some even maybe created a product because it actually solved a problem, which is really good. But now people want a product that really serves their needs, that goes beyond just solving a problem, but really embodies who they are as a client and really could take them to the next level, like a transformation. So people want a product that serves. The second part of your business model is that you need a process that delivers. I think we are living in, obviously, in an overstimulated, high-speed environment that people don't have the time, the patience to figure out how to get to your product or solution. So not only do they want clarity and transparency on how your product gets to them, how it serves them, but they also want transparency of delivery, right? They want to see, like, you know, what, like, so for example, if you're a service provider and you have a program, people want to know, okay, what are the steps that will take for someone to succeed in your program, and how long would it take, right? In the past, you could just say, this is my product, and you have to come into my program to see the solution. Now people need to know the solution and say, okay, does this align with my values, and work with you in tandem, right? And the third thing is that people need a person that resonates with them. I think this is probably the most crucial part of the business model of today for businesses that are operating in this economy. You need to really stand up and really get your persona out there. You need a personal brand that sticks. People need to be able to relate to the person and the mission behind the business. This is personal branding 101. Personal branding is no longer optional in a high stakes, low trust environment. People need to know that they can trust you. They need to know that they can connect with you and your product. They need to get to know you. Okay. And so this is precisely the reason over the past 3 years, I've been aggressively sharing thought leadership and strategies to help entrepreneurs build their personal brand through the Personal Brand Business School. You can check the link in the comments for more information about that. But I have been almost like a raving lunatic, sounding the alarm that entrepreneurs of this generation need to be keenly aware about how they are leveraging their personal brand and positioning their reputation and their expertise to lead in business, lead in their industries, lead in their communities with the products and services that they're offering the market. You can't just put a product to market nowadays. People need to know who you are and why you're doing it. So crucial. So obviously, this is the 3-part business model that is working, where you have a product that serves, a process that delivers, and a person that resonates with the client persona that you're serving. Okay. Now, in order for this business model to work, though, because sometimes, it's kind of like, a doctor prescribing, some type of, medication to you, but understand that you have to have a lifestyle change in order for that to work. I'm going to share with you pretty much this 10-point AI business ready manifesto that you would need to position yourself to succeed. Now, one thing I wanted to share in addition to this conversation around personal branding is that you need to be very, very clear on the fact that if you're going to win, you got to know it's going to be a rough road ahead, but it's so worth it, because entrepreneurship, I always tend to say, it's all about resilience. It's all about your passion. And do you really care about the work that you're doing? Right. And so if you are up for the challenge, you're up for the, for embarking on this journey, then this is the path for you. So I want to share with you 10 different principles that will help you navigate this new era to make sure that you're positioned to win in this AI digital first environment. Okay. And so I'll start with probably the most direct that I'm going to probably make very, very clear is, first and foremost, simplicity will win in this environment. Any complication in your business model, whether it be your tech stack, your customer experience, your operational workflow, whatever you do to get from point A to point B, you need to simplify it right now. Today, I've seen people use AI tools literally to streamline. And sometimes when you're trying to do that, a lot of people are like, oh, it feels like you're, kind of going down the rabbit hole of thinking of different strategies and ideas to use AI. But don't look at the fact that, look, if you never had a simple operational model to do business, AI is not going to solve that for you. So if you're looking for a way to really simplify your business, one thing that you could do is what we call the power of one principle, where you have one offer, one platform, and one conversion system. What does that look like? So for me, a perfect example of this, like we have multiple products in our funnel, and over the past 4 to 5 years, we've been streamlining to go to market with one core offer. That doesn't mean we're blanking in every other alternative offer, but we're showing up with one core offer so people can know us for that. We show up on one platform to have conversations about that offer. So for example, for me, that will be LinkedIn, and one conversion system. So what is the way for me to get clients to that product solution, to get market awareness? And for me, it's like live sessions like this, where I'm having live conversations, live thought leadership, very sincere and open and honest dialogues to get people to want to call to action, join us, join the platform, join the solution. Very simple, power of one principle: one offer, one platform, one conversion mechanism, and that is it. So if you have a business model where you have multiple products, multiple ways to get clients, multiple ways to do, to show up and engage, you need to look at it and like, okay, what is the one offer that's getting the most revenue? What is the one platform that's been the most successful for you? And what is the one conversion mechanism that has worked for you the best? And double down. Simplicity will win in this economy. You need to simplify your entire structure from operations, tech stats. I had a different video where I shared that, if you have the average entrepreneur right now is using about 30 plus different tools, this is not the era for that. You need less is more right now. So simplify, 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 simplify. Okay. So that's the first one. Second, automation needs a foundation. So you can't automate any processes without a system first. I've seen so many founders trying to automate their businesses, but they have no actual protocols and steps to actually build a stream of revenue on a consistent basis. So it makes no sense for you to automate something that doesn't have a structure in the first place. So the reason why many of you might feel like AR tools are not as helpful is because you never even created what I would say like a SOP, like a standard operating procedure. So the first thing I will tell founders is to create a customer journey SOP. So what is the conversation that you need to have for a customer to know who you are and want to engage with you, and walk that through? And then once you actually repeat that process over and over, what's successful, is consistent getting your revenue, then you have a structure that works. And then you can think about the tools and the structures to automate that. But without a system laid out in a document, we're unable to automate it with recommendations from AI. So the first thing I will tell people before you get into automation mayhem, really look at what SOPs are in your business. If you have no SOPs, it's something that we talk about in the AI First Ready workshop. We could talk about that at the end of the session, but we talk about look at your business and we help you in one document create a SOP of the customer client journey to make sure that you have that on paper, and then you can automate around that. The third thing is human input is so necessary. I think right now you cannot outsource human ingenuity and care to tech tools. Like there's so much fake content out there, so much, AI generated materials that people want to connect to something that is human, right? So if you could personalize and go old school, and we've been doing this, going old school with direct messages, where people are like, oh, Christine, is that really you? I'm like, yes, it's really me. It's not my team. It's not the tech. It's not my CRM. It's me having a direct email with you or a direct message with you. It really resonates with people right now because there's so much automation going on and so much, just tech generated activity that when you can have a human to human interaction, it really, really resonates with people. The fourth thing I would say is leverage over labor. You are going to need less people to function as a business in this economy, for sure. So obviously you see that in the form of layoffs. You see startups are hiring less. You see so much workforce disruption. And it's a video that I have for later for those of you need to know the skills that you need to operate to be incredibly valuable in today's economy. But the reality is that a lot more businesses have more leverage, which means they need less labor. However, regardless of your workforce capacity, you need to really navigate by thinking, okay, how do I structure my team? How do I structure the role? How does work get done? So you need to really look at the workflow within your organization to make sure that you're leveraging labor to be, pretty much, taken to a next level with technology and not just replaced by technology. I see too many founders think like, oh, how do I replace my workforce with technology, as opposed to how do I enable my workforce with technology? How do I accelerate our growth with technology? How do I get us to the next level with the technology? Look at it as an enabler, not a replacement. If you look at labor and leverage in this way, you will see that every person that comes into your organization is like either 5x, 10x, or 20xing your output, because you are looking at each individual human as a way to really take your business to the next level, serve more people, and create a greater impact. That's a huge one. Fifth, IP is so important. You need to create IP. You need to create intellectual access. You need to build assets that work for you. Content is king. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next one, but thought leadership is so crucial. I think because there's so much, again, auto-generated content, that you need to be out there connecting the dots for people, and people need to get to know you and your thought processes. So start creating frameworks, structures, strategies, blueprints, roadmaps. Create things of value that people can connect the dots, because I think probably the best thing you could do right now is curate and synthesize. What I'm doing right now is a form of IP where I'm literally helping people connect the dots from so many different resources about what they're seeing, so many inputs, and put it in a streamlined way of understanding. That is a contribution that only a human can do. Granted, AI could do a summary of everything that's in the internet, but my lens of leadership, my lens of experience adds a little bit, not just flavor, but understanding of empathy and connection, and resonates with you right now because I'm a human being connecting with you through the medium of entrepreneurship, of us having a conversation about how we could collectively be successful in our business endeavors. Technology cannot replace that. So it's very important that you have IP asset creation and really think about being more reflective in this season and putting those reflections out to the public. 6 is thought leadership distribution. Now, I just talked about thought leadership creation in terms of IP asset creation. I want to talk about how you could turn to AI for thought leadership distribution. Anything that you put out there on the internet can be repurposed and scaled at large, right? And in today's digital economy, I can't stress enough like how me even have this conversation live on video can repurpose into an article, into a text, into a blueprint, into a handbook, into a workflow. And that's the reason why you see a lot of entrepreneurs who are doing very well in this environment are people who are doing book deals, webinar series, podcasts, because they are literally prioritizing leaving a legacy with their mind, right? Leaving an impact, leaving an impression, leaving a conversation that might change a life, change a direction, change a trajectory. That thought leadership distribution, now you could get your thoughts out scale. And I'm not saying that in terms of numbers, I'm saying that in terms of variation, because a lot of you think about thought distribution, thought leadership distribution in a way of how do I get millions of people to see my talks. There's nothing wrong with that, but I do think that we have perverted scale too much. I think we have become so obsessed with the numbers that we do not literally if I have 10 people on this live, that's 10 people that walked up to say, I'm going to take the time to hear you out. If that was in person in a room, I would appreciate that, right? But for some reason, seeing 10 people online, we've now disconnected ourselves with the power of having 10 people hear you in person, right? And so I want you to go back to the basics and appreciate each individual that's shown up to interact with your content, interact with the conversations that you're having. Because just like you're in a boardroom where there's 30 people in the room, you feel intimidated because 30 people there, you should feel the same way online. It's still 30 human beings that's hearing you and hear where you're coming from. So when we think about distribution and scale, again, don't just think in front of numbers, think about it in the variation. So if I'm having a video conversation with you guys for about 20 to 30 minutes, if someone feels like reading it, they can read it. If someone feels like hearing it, they can hear it. If someone sees like seeing it, they can see it. I'm able to distribute my conversation in multiple formats and meet people where they are. And that's what I mean by distribution. It's not about the number, it's about the engagement. How are you able to engage people in different ways to really have people internalize your message in multiple different ways? And I think that's a powerful thing about this era. The 7th thing I will say is clarity converts. I have seen so much of this that at the end of the day, if people are confused, they will not buy from you, they will not engage with you, right? So right now, AI has made it so easy to fake expertise, copy ideas, and really just blur ethical lines. And so when you are able to be very clear and candid and succinct, I could just, obviously go on live, just talk to you guys because I'm able to come from not only a place of experience, but a point of clarity. That clarity is going to convert people to want to engage with me and work with me further. So don't underestimate your capacity to clarify things, clarify your thought leadership, clarify your business model, clarify your message. It will help you in the long run. As more and more people pile on, you are trying to simplify. The 8th thing I would say is integrity is so important right now. So many people understand that we are in a trust recession. A lot of people are just really taken aback by how AI has really created a lot of deep fakes. And so people are more comfortable working with people who are have integrity, who are trustworthy, and who respect to protect their reputation at all costs. So that's something that's a huge one. If you are someone who is just look, I just want to get fame, I just want to get likes, people are going to see through it right now. And so if you really care about what you're doing, people are going to respect that. Okay. Ninth, purpose over power. This is a huge one, and I think the power dynamics has really shifted. Big corporate institutions will no longer be able to outcompete small startups the way they used to, because if you have a real mission, a real purpose, if you are on fire about something, it's funny, I find that it's easier to create a movement as an individual purpose than an institution with big, massive, resources, networks, and so on and so forth. So don't underestimate the power of having a mighty, mighty, mighty heart in this environment. And the last thing is consumers to community. I have seen a shift. I've definitely been doing this since the dawn of my inception as an entrepreneur. Don't look at your consumers as a mailing list. Look at, your people that you're serving as a community, because what's happening right now is like you want people to become advocates of your business, advocates of the work that you're doing. And the only way to do that is to really serve people in a community centric way and not a consumer like transactional way. So if you care about hearing feedback from your clients, hearing thoughts from your stakeholders, you're going to see that you're going to build a business. It may be a little bit slower, but it's stronger. And I can't, express how important that is to have that ability to do that. Okay. Now, with that said, I know a lot of you have shared that, look, right now in this economy, it's been pretty crazy, right? Seeing this, really unwind itself. But the most important thing is that, AI is going to continue to accelerate. Technology is going to continue to get crazy and crazy and crazier. And what I want you to understand is that if you are more intentional, structured, and more human, this is going to position you for success, because more and more people are recognizing that, wow, this technology could either be a force for good or a force to reckon. And you got to pick the side of history that you want to stand on. So again, the new model that's going to work today, just to summarize, is a product that serves, a process that delivers, and a person that resonates. And the 10 things I want you to remember if you want to operate in this reality of being a successful entrepreneur that actually really navigates today's digital economy well: always create simplicity. Know that automation needs a structure, right? Be human first with everything that you do. Don't just depend on the technology. Leverage over labor. Really optimize your workforce, make them successful. Always, always, always prioritize IP asset creation. Really curate that thought leadership. Look at thought leadership distribution in a different way. How do you engage in different formats? Clarity always converts. Integrity is going to be the new normal. And purpose over power. Never underestimate the power of a small and mighty mission. And of course, look at your clientele as a community. If you really serve them well, it's going to really go a long way for you. So with that said, I hope that this message served you well. I just want to get on quickly here and really just give you guys some feedback on how to really leverage AI to really position you for success. And I hope that you guys had an amazing day. Hope this served you. And till next time, I look forward to, engaging with you guys on the next live. Thank you so much. If you have questions, definitely comment on the thread, and I love to answer those questions as quickly as possible for you. Thank you so much, everyone. Christine and Tim, let's go get them.
Christine and Tim.
Christine, Safran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.